All right, folks, what I want to do in this lesson is I want to introduce you to the idea of economic policy in a country. We're focusing primarily on the United States. And, when we think about what we just learned about classical economic theory and Keynesian economic theory, well, let me tell you something. Economic theory in the United States is definitely not hands-off. We are very active in managing the economy. And if you look historically, you might see that we've actually done a pretty good job. So Keynesian economic theory definitely has something good to say about the truth of how the world works. Now, that's not to say that classical economic theory doesn't have its merits. My personal opinion is that Keynesian economic theory, in a way, is kind of necessary because we, as humans, are kind of irrational and broken. And so maybe if we weren't so irrational, then classical economic theory would work a little more according to how it's, what it believes. But we are definitely not a hands-off economy. We definitely intervene and we definitely regulate, or we attempt to regulate the economy. And we do so through two categories of means, and that's what I'm going to introduce you to right now. Okay? In the United States, basically, there are two ways to manage the economy. Or I guess I should say there are two types of what we call policy. Now, policy means like political action to intervene. A policy is a point of view or a stance or a decision. And so what we have is the first one is called, or one of them is called fiscal policy. And the other one is called monetary policy. So, when the government intervenes in the economy, they're doing it either through fiscal policy or through monetary policy. Really, I should say they're doing it through both of them. These are two, and there are different groups of people who are enacting fiscal policy and monetary policy. So fiscal policy is enacted by the lawmakers in our country, and those people are voted into office, and that's important to understand because it affects how they enact fiscal policy. In the United States, the voted lawmakers, we call them the United States Congress. And so Congress pretty much is in direct control over fiscal policy. Now, that's not to say that the President of the United States doesn't have influence in fiscal policy, but if the President does have influence over fiscal policy, it is through Congress. So it is an indirect effect, okay? But Congress is in control of fiscal policy. Monetary policy is managed by the central bank of a country, and at least in this country, those people are not voted into their job. Okay, these people are appointed to their job, and therefore they don't have to worry about voters as much. Okay, in the United States, the name of the central bank is called the Federal Reserve, or simply what we call it the Fed. Okay, so anytime you hear me say the Fed, I'm referring to the Central Bank of the United States, which its official name is the Federal Reserve System, okay, or the Federal Reserve Bank. Now, the last several lessons that we have, we're coming near the end of the semester, and the last several lessons we have are from now on up until the end of the semester is focused on fiscal policy and monetary policy. And what we're going to do is we're going to focus on fiscal policy first, and then we'll wrap up the semester with monetary policy.